When a person is trying to get rid of their credit card debt, they may be wondering which approach to take. Do I pay off the cards with the highest balance first, or do I pay off those with the highest interest rate? In this episode, we're going to discuss each approach and the pros and cons of each one. We'll also go through an actual example so you can see how each works. And as an added bonus, we'll talk about two sneaky little methods that can help you save some money as you pay off your debt. But these tricks only work if you're disciplined. So are you ready to wipe out your credit card debt once and for all? Then let's get started, friends. Welcome to another episode of Minding My Money Mondays, a common sense talk about money matters. I'm Jared Rogers, CPA, and if you're new to the channel and never want to miss another money-saving tip, simply hit that little cartoon dude in the lower right side of your screen and subscribe. Also, make sure you click on the little bell icon. That way you'll receive notifications every time a new video is posted. When it comes to paying off credit card debt, many people often get stuck on trying to figure out what debt to pay off first. Do you start by paying off those with the lowest balance, or do you target the ones that have the highest interest rate? Well, the short answer is that if you're looking for success, then you pay off the balances that are the smallest first. But if you're looking to save the most money, then you pay off the ones with the highest interest rate. Now let me explain. Mathematically, the best option is to pay off the cards with the highest interest rate first, because as you make payments on these cards, you're reducing the principal, which is what the interest is calculated off of in the first place. So by targeting these cards first, you reduce the total amount that you'll spend on the debt over the life of the loan. This is the camp that I would fall in if someone were asking for my opinion. But it's just that, an opinion. Now, what most credit card coaches and other financial gurus will tell you is that most people aren't dealing with a mathematical problem. They're dealing with an overspending, overconsumption, buying too much crap problem. Furthermore, they might also be dealing with a discipline problem. So to help people out in this situation, it might be recommended that they pay off the cards with the smallest balances first. Because as each balance gets paid off, it helps feed a feeling of success and accomplishment. Once the first debt is paid off, a person feels a little bit better about their situation. And then when the second, third, fourth debt are paid off, the person begins to feel a sense of momentum. When they finally tackle their debt with the highest balance, they have all this energy and positivity behind them that makes them think they can conquer the world. And you know what? That's what usually happens, and they finally become debt-free. So now that we have some of the logic out of the way, let's go take a look at some numbers just to put it all together.
Okay, so let's say that a person has 5 different debts, 4 of which are credit cards. So we can see those right here. And the last thing that they owe is a student loan. The total amount that they owe is $31,975. So what this little calculator will do will show us the impacts of what happens if they choose one of the 2 different payment strategies. So let's say the person is going to start making their payments on October the 1st. Here, what we can see are what their payments are, and we can see what their total monthly minimum payment may be. We can see what their interest rates that they're being charged, and over here, we can see what the interest-only component of that may be. So let's say that a person can pay almost double this, or $650 per month, okay? This will give you what the initial snowball is, so $324.13. The second piece of this worksheet then calculates if they choose a particular strategy, what happens. So we'll start with snowball first, which is paying off the lowest balance first. And we can see from here that the person has a store card with an $879 balance and a 12% interest rate. So this says paying off the lowest first. It'll take 3 months to pay off the store card. It says that they will pay $13,541 in interest, and that all their debt will be gone in September of 2026. So about 6 years from when they begin paying. They'll pay $31,000 in debt, and they'll make $45,000 in total payments. This last little chart is the snowball chart, which shows how their payments increase over time, as well as the interest that is due. Now, let's go ahead and change this method from snowball to paying off the highest card balance first. And what we can see is that now they'll be targeting the MasterCard. Their MasterCard has an interest rate of 15.25%. what that ends up doing is it ends up decreasing the amount of interest to $10,312, which is roughly $3,228 less. And they ended up shaving 5 months off of their payment schedule. But take a look at this. The months till they pay off that first card is 23 months. Whereas if we pick the lowest balance first, it's only 3 months for them to pay off their first card. Matter of fact, they can pay off 2 cards by going for the lowest balances and get those done within 14 months. Whereas if they're waiting for just simply the highest interest rate first, it's going to take them 23 months, which is almost 2 years. So once again, this is why some people will say that paying off the highest interest rate card, while it saves you the most in money, psychologically it can be hard to deal with because it takes the longest amount to get rid of those cards and get the first win. So the cool thing about this little calculator is that it has multiple methods, and it actually allows us to say, hey, what if we went with custom? So for example, let's say that we're going to start with the card with the lowest balance first, which would be the store card. So let's do that one first. And then let's move to the cards with the highest interest rates. So this will be the second one, this would be the third, the fourth, and then of course the student loan will be the fifth. Then what we do is if we come here and we say that we want to pick the custom lowest first, lowest number first, we will see that we pay off the store card first in 3 months, and then we move on to the highest interest rate one, which is the MasterCard, which takes 25. And you can see that we wind up paying $10,429 in interest, which is only like $100 more than if we're simply going with the highest interest rate first. And we still end up paying everything off April 26th. But the biggest difference is instead of waiting 23 months to get the MasterCard done, we get a small win in between. So this calculator is put on by Vertex 42. So if you were interested in getting this calculator, then you can hop on your browser and head on over to vertex42.com. And when you get there, select calculators at the top. Then under financial calculators, pick the debt payoff calculator, and then scroll on down and pick the first option for the spreadsheet. Once there, scroll on down and you'll be able to download the calculator either in Excel format or under the Google Sheets format. They even have a nice little video that you can watch on YouTube, and I'll put the link in the description below.
So as we can see, there are pluses and minuses of using either method, but at the end of the day, regardless of which method you choose, paying off credit card debt is going to take some time and commitment to be successful. Which brings me to the 2 sneaky little tricks that you can use to help you save money while you're paying off your debt across the long haul. The first trick is to consider moving some of your debt to interest-free cards. You know, those cards that give you a 0% interest rate for a period of time after opening them. By doing this, you could save some money and some significant interest depending on how long the introductory period lasts. But there are 2 caveats to this. The first is that you need a decent credit score to even qualify for opening up this type of card. The second catch is that you have to be disciplined in not spending on the cards that you transferred the balances from. If you're not, you'll quickly find yourself charging up those cards again and accumulating more debt. Now, the second trick works much like the first, but is geared towards people that have a home. What you can consider doing is consolidating your debt onto a home line of credit. While it's not as good as transferring the balances to cards with a 0% interest rate, it can effectively act like loan consolidation. What I mean by this is that you can move balances from higher interest rates cards to a loan source that has a lower interest rate, such as a HELOC. And in the end, over the long term, it could help you save some money. But the same caveat applies here as it did to the first trick. If you charge up the original balances again, you'll 100% defeat the purpose of this strategy. This is why when back in the day, I would help people get out of credit card debt, I would often tell them to freeze their cards. And I mean this in a literal sense. Take the card, dip it in a bowl or a cup of water, and throw it in your freezer. This helps a person keep from using their card on impulse purchases because they have to wait until the card thaws out before they can actually use it. At least this was back in my day before there were cards being stored on websites and in your phone. But I digress. So there you have it, a few insights on paying off your credit cards using the lowest balance first method or the highest interest rate method. If you have questions that you would like answered in a future episode, you can send them to questions@makemymoneymakesense.com. That's questions@makemymoneymakesense.com. Also, if you found value in this episode, please give it a thumbs up and feel free to share it. So like I always say at the end of every episode, it's been fun, it's been real. I'm Jared Rogers, and until we meet again, let's all continue to mind my money, and I will see you all next Monday. Take care.